Welcome everyone to Health Coach TV. I'm your host, Dr. Shauna Menard, and I am here with the incredible Avis Doctor. Welcome, Avis.
Hi, Dr. Shauna. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I thought of you and I knew you were coming, and so hot pink is your brand color, so I'm showing up accordingly. We're going to be popping in pink here. And for all of you out there listening, if you or someone you love is struggling with back pain, and a lot of people are, you are definitely going to want to tune into this episode and grab a pen. Let me give you a proper introduction, Avis. So Avis Doctor left her position as the Director of Fiscal Services in School Business Administration after 22 years of service. Through deep soul searching and studies, she discovered that her emotional stress was at the root cause of her physical back pain. For many years, Avis has wanted to understand how the mind, body, and spirit work together, believing that this connection is vital to our health. She loves connecting with people and serving her community, helping individuals achieve greater levels of health and wellness. Avis is a certified IIN health coach, inspiring and sharing with women her journey to healing while overcoming fears, doubts, and distractions. As the inspirational health coach, her signature program, Back on Track, teaches a holistic approach to overcoming back pain, creating inner harmony, and changing habits and lifestyles while empowering individuals to be advocates for their own well-being. She wants everyone to know, individually and collectively, that the answers are within. She is an author, an advocate for those suffering from domestic violence, and serves as the health leader at her church. Avis loves hiking and communing in nature. She lives in lovely Dublin, California. Avis emphatically believes health is our greatest wealth. Welcome, Avis.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Shauna. It's a pleasure to be here.
My pleasure to have you. And our audience is really going to love some of the gems that you have to share. Tell people what exactly it is that you do.
I help women overcome debilitating back pain naturally and tap into their innate healing abilities so that they can enjoy a fulfilling, pain-free life with less stress, greater energy, doing the energetic activities that they love every day, and even more.
Awesome. So usually, and it is the case for you as well, so many health coaches that we interview on Health Coach TV, what inspired them was their own personal journey. And as they overcame something, that led to the work that they do now to make it easier for others. Tell everyone, how did you get going on helping people with back pain?
You know, I was in pain. I was in some horrible pain, debilitating, and it just seemed like it came out of nowhere, but I don't think it really did. I was wanting to take a relaxing bath after a long day, and so I went to turn on the water faucet, and I couldn't get back up. I was in horrible pain. I went to the doctor. They gave me medication and told me that I needed to do some physiotherapy, but I did that. But it was just not working. And I just didn't know where to go. But you know what? I didn't want to have surgery either. And so I just felt frustrated. As I was looking, I was searching for help. I was stressed. I was tired. I was angry. I just didn't know which way to turn. But every aspect of my life was being affected by this pain. You know, my relationships, my sleep. Even being able to breathe was very difficult and painful. And this was just all consuming. My life was just being consumed by this pain. And I was just feeling really alone. I think people knew that I was in pain, but they didn't really pay attention to me. You know, I guess maybe everybody has some pain and they're worried about their own selves, but it was just really hard. And it was really hard to describe to people how I was feeling, because unless you have this kind of pain, you really don't know what it's like. So, but somewhere deep down inside of me, I just knew I had to heal myself. And I felt that I really could heal. I felt like my body could heal itself. I believe I could heal. And I believe that I can make the changes that were necessary. I knew there was an answer. And I was on a mission to find out. So, but you know, you're like, where do I start? So I began searching for answers outside of the traditional methods and began using a different approach. And after 3 months of agony, I overcame my back pain, and now I am pain-free.
Awesome. That is a fantastic journey. And really to go from no hope and kind of feel like your back's up against the wall and in pain and not wanting to have the surgery, because that in itself wasn't like that was necessarily a cure-all. And to be really frustrated and to kind of go through that journey and then to actually be able to tap into your own innate healing ability. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Like, how did you do that? And to get on the other side to be pain-free, really incredible to kind of crack the code on that. So tell everybody a little bit more about that. Like, how did this happen? What did you do? Anything you want to share more about that story?
Sure. Listen, look, I was that woman that believed she could do anything and everything. I was the quote super woman, super mom. And that's where it kind of all beginning. That's where it started. And as I look back, thinking that I could do everything, that I could be everything. And so I was just taking on more and more and more, and regretting more and more of taking on these things. And so I was holding on to negative, depleting emotions, maybe being upset about taking on more, but not really saying anything about it. And I was just driving these emotions deeper and deeper into my body. And my body just one day just said, hey, we're done. We're not taking anymore. So then I became desperate for relief. And so I started my search and discovered that negative emotions can become stuck or trapped in our bodies. I didn't know that. And I began to learn that. And I began to really search out and dig deep and try to figure out how I could relieve those negative emotions in my body. And that's where my journey began. And then I started figuring this out, and I started letting go and surrendering those emotions, like anger, frustration, guilt. And I started just doing more self-care and soul care activities. And 3 months of consistently doing this work, of releasing negative, depleting emotions, my pain went away completely. And now I enjoy hiking and dancing, which I love, and many of the simple everyday activities that I took for granted, like sitting and standing, and the very simple thing of like turning over in bed. I'm able to do those things without pain now.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And really, it sounds like one of the big missing links was that connection of tapping into the emotional aspect and the physical aspect. People often think, well, I bent over to turn on the faucet and boom, back pain. So it was just that. But there's a saying out there, it's not really well known, but your issues are in your tissues. And so all of the other emotional things that you have do get trapped and stored, and then we suffer the consequences of it. So getting right down to addressing that. So a really transformative experience is what you had. So many millions of people out there suffering with back pain, a lot longer than 3 months. They've been suffering for years and on a lot of medications and things that have side effects in their own right, and really struggling, and it's affecting all of their lives. They're not able to maybe work like they normally would want to work, or have a relationship, or do those fun activities, hiking, dancing, and so on. So your experience of going from point A to point B, from pain to pain free, is that what had you decide to become a health coach?
Heart. I've always was interested in health and committed to holistic health and healing. I was always interested in helping others. So through my church and so on, through other organizations, I saw families suffering with health. I saw other people. I saw family and friends, even some coworkers suffering with health. And when I saw that I could get relief, and that I could naturally do that, I thought that I could help other people also.
Yeah, awesome. So how do you work with these other people, with your clients? How does that work? What does that look like?
Well, most of my clients are women and they're living with pain and stress, silently suffering. We do that a lot. Women suffer in silence a lot, and they're looking for real solutions and natural solutions so that they can enjoy their life, their families, their work, their activities without pain and stress. So what I do is I will walk them through a 4-step process so they can get rid of their pain or stress and poor sleep so that they can have improved sleep, more energy, and no pain. I work with them very closely, primarily, virtually online. So it's easy for anyone and everyone to connect with me. And there is plenty of accountability and support. But, I always know that they can get on the other side of this, or I believe in them. And if they can't believe in themselves, I help them to believe in themselves. And the most important thing is that to help people get the relief they need and the results that they are really looking for. And that's to be pain-free.
Yeah, so that's really what they want. And so to be able to help people with that is fantastic. So whenever I'm speaking to niche experts, so you are all these health coaches that I interview and select to interview on Health Coach TV, you are all experts in your own field. And you are immersed in the topic, you're on the cutting edge, leading edge of it. And so usually people have some these experts, you as the expert, have some ideas about some myths, some common myths that people share who are usually stuck in the problem side of the equation rather than the solution side. What are some of the biggest myths that you've seen when it comes to back pain?
One of the biggest myths that people have is that they believe it's impossible to overcome back pain without surgery and medication. And that's just so prevalent. And I think it's because people have suffered for so long and that they go to the doctor and that's the first thing that they're told. So they just believe it's impossible. There are some others, and some are that the best treatment for back pain is bed rest. That's a big one. And many times you just want to lay down and say like, oh, I don't want to feel this, but that is not the best solution. And then there's a couple of others, that back pain is usually caused by injury, or that my pain just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's kind of like unpack some of those a little bit. So one, you're living proof that it's possible to get on the other side of back pain without the surgery and meds, because it's possible. You're living proof, and the people that you help. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. If people are wanting that, and if it is working for them, great. It's just not always working for people. If it worked, we wouldn't have to explore other options, but it doesn't always work. So just knowing that it's possible, I think that's huge, because if something's not possible, why would you even venture out changing anything? And then the other thing that you were talking about was bed rest. And so tell us a little bit more about that. Like, shouldn't you just lay down and not move when you're in pain? Is that not the best? What do you found that is the best?
Well, I've found that that's the old model of bed rest. And now the new way, and new improved way, is that you need to move, because if you don't move, you won't be able to move. And it's very tempting because, you're in pain and you just want to feel like, oh, I can't move, or you just want to immobilize yourself. But it's very counterintuitive to move when you're in pain. But it's just taking little steps at a time, because it's the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. And so your pain is that squeaky wheel. And so you have to start moving, which is the oil, so that you can move and continue to move. And if you just keep taking little steps at a time, you will be able to move. Because if you don't move at all, you're going to be in pain and you won't be able, you'll just be stiff and your life will really be miserable. So it's just like taking a few steps there, getting that oil of movement.
Yeah. So yeah, if it's stiffened up and you can't move, and then it hurts to move even just a little bit, kind of that use it or lose it type of thing, and nothing crazy movement, just little baby steps, improving a little bit each day. Got it. We'll maybe dive into that a little bit further as we go here. The other thing that you said as a myth was that back pain is usually caused by injury. And what do you say about that? Isn't that not the case?
Well, back pain can be caused by injury, and then you can be healed from that. But then when you come into pain again, you'll think back, that pain was maybe like you injured 20, 10, 30 years ago. And then you'll come back, you're like, oh, that's why my pain is because of that accident that I have. But that's not necessarily true. It's just that that's where we just first go to, thinking that everything is musculoskeletal. But it could be at stress that we're under, or particular activities that we're doing that are stressful, and that brings on pain. But instead of us thinking about the activities that we're doing or these stressful things that may be in our lives, we automatically assume that it had to do with a prior injury, and that's just not necessarily true.
Yeah, not always the case. I think the last thing that you said there, because I just wanted to like dive into a couple of those little myths, because they're commonly held things. And one is that my back pain came out of nowhere. And I think you, even at the beginning, you shared that's what you thought. I thought it came out of nowhere. Like I was just turning on the faucet. So it kind of blindsides people. They don't see it coming. So why is that not necessarily true either? Why did it not just come poof out of thin air, out of nowhere?
Because we have a lot of things going on in our lives. And that pain, as I shared before, we're just energy. And emotions is energy in motion. And energy can get stuck in our bodies. And so we're just going on. Just like you have an electrical cord, and it can get severed. And it's kind of like a short, right? But you don't pay any attention to it until it totally breaks. But other than that, you start putting the tape around it and trying to do all these things to catch that short circuit, right? So we have things going on in our lives, and we're driving this emotional stuff deeper and deeper into our bodies. And then when it decides that it's going to snap, we just say, oh, it came out of nowhere. And we think it came out of nowhere, but all along, it's just been building up and building up and building up.
Yeah. So it's kind of like it comes on suddenly, a sudden onset, but not out of nowhere. There was stuff going on, like it's like the tip of the iceberg. Like there was stuff grumbling along under the surface that was not being tended to in the roots beneath the soil that eventually led to this sudden appearing onset. But really, it was in the works for a while. So why is understanding, like really understanding back pain more from a holistic or complete essence, and including the emotional connection and getting to the root of it, getting down below just the surface of it? Why is that so important in helping people with back pain? Why is understanding this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Understanding is key. We face so much uncertainty every day of our lives, and not understanding or knowing what is the best solution. There's so much information out there. And so everything can be so counterintuitive. Like, you're told rest, and now you're told don't rest. And you're told walk, and don't move, and all these things are just happening. So to get a lot of bed rest and surgery and medications are only some of the answers. Those are answers that can work, but it's not something that you want to be doing for a lifetime. But there are other paths. And so it's important to explore that. 80% of the people in the world suffer with some sort of back pain, but women are at the highest risk and are more likely, they're more likely to seek help. So they are looking for solutions where they can do things naturally, but at the same time, still be able to live their lives. And so many times women just are suffering in silence and creating more stress in their lives. So there's more to back pain than just the musculoskeletal disorders. I've met several people who've had 5 to 7 back surgeries and still in pain. So I believe that part of the missing link ties into our emotions. Does that mean that your pain is in your head or you're crazy? The pain is real, but what is needed is to get to the root cause of the pain. And much of that root cause is that we have emotions that we have not dealt with and we just repress them. And our body at some point in time decides that enough is enough.
So that's really great. Thank you for sharing all of that information. Let's imagine that there is someone out there right now. There is someone out there in back pain. There's a pretty good chance someone listening in has had back pain or knows of a loved one who has back pain. And they're struggling. So they're where you were. What are some simple tips that they could do right now? Like, instantly that they could help get them some relief that if they're suffering. So let's just kind of got anything that you can offer them right here on this Health Coach TV episode.
I sure do. The number one thing that people can do, simple, is to take time and breathe, to slow down and breathe. Taking deep breaths has an amazing effect on our bodies and helps to ease pain. Breathing moves oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of our bodies, and it helps to deliver nutrients, and it relaxes our body. And so it can also trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you to relax. And when we're in fear, notice your breath. We breathe very shallow, very slowly, and if we're breathing at all,
yeah.
So we need to slow down and breathe. Do you ever remember with somebody like you're hiding from someone and you don't want them to hear you? They would say, stop breathing. And that's what happens, when we're not breathing, we're causing ourselves even more stress. So one simple tip is to slow down and breathe. And you may not even understand this, but many times when you're in really a lot of pain, all you can do is moan. And that is a form of breathing. And actually, notice when you're moaning, you find relief in that pain. So even if you have to moan, take a moment and just slow down your breath and see the difference in your pain.
I was even just thinking as you're saying that, talking about kids hiding or if you're watching a scary movie and you're like, and you realize you're like holding your breath, right? And then you just need a break and you're like, and then when you just relax and you're like, it's okay, it's just a show or whatever, and you breathe and you let it go and you breathe. And then you're saying, taking that big breath in, not breathing shallowly, just up at the top, but getting rid of stale air and just replenishing with that fresh air, fresh oxygen that is really healing. And I think, all of us are breathing that are, but I think we forget and we default when we're in pain, we often are in fear. So we're afraid of what does the pain mean? We're afraid of we're afraid of being in pain. Nobody wants to be in pain. So it just kind of gets to be a little vicious cycle there. And it's about unwinding that and getting it on the other side of it. And you can come at it from all sorts of ways, but deep breathing, slowing it down, then the body goes, oh, we're relaxed, everything's okay. That must mean we have no pain. And so a tremendous benefit. I kind of cut you off there. Any other tips other than these great, relaxing, deep breaths and letting it go?
Moving. Get moving. You want to be less stiff. You know how when you exercise, there is this lactic acid buildup, you get those sore muscles afterwards. But the best thing is to get moving and to keep moving. And that gets circulation moving throughout your body and helps to remove that waste and that lactic acid buildup. And so breathing and movement, they go together. They're cleansing and they're very connected. So when you do deep breathing, deep belly breathing, it's very, very relaxing. And what you're doing actually when you're breathing is you're causing movement also. You're causing your internal muscles to move, your internal organs to move, you're causing movement to happen. So you get a two for one there. So breathing and movement go together.
Awesome. Any other tips?
One more that I would say that is very simple is drinking water. Water is something that we overlook. I think we think it's too simple, and it is really worth its weight in gold. It flushes toxins, it decreases inflammation, it helps with our blood moving through our body. And what we don't recognize is that we are 70% water, but there are other parts of our body that have more water content. Like our blood plasma is like 90% water. Our lungs are 83% water. Even our bones are like 31% water. Our brain, 73% water. So moving this water through our bodies, because we are a body of water, rivers, streams, oceans, and water is moving through our bodies all the time. And I think we have it all mixed up. So the number one thing is breathing. We have no life without breath. We can't live without it. Water, we can't live very long without it. And food, we can go a little longer without food, but we still do need it. So we have it all backwards. We tend to want to eat food. We think that eating food is the most important thing, then water, then breathing. But it's really the opposite. Breathing, water, and then eating. And the next thing I would just say is that decreasing our sugar intake also helps to decrease inflammation.
Yeah. And I think, and that's something that is near and dear to your heart. I know that you occasionally run these free 5-day sugar detoxes because of the link. You're like, get rid of the sugar, get rid of your pain. So helping people through that, because they don't really realize how pro-inflammatory sugar is. I mean, what does that have to do with my back pain? And a lot, actually, although not in replacement of breathing and water, but sugar is important. I think that really helps to put things in perspective there, Avis. Well, one of the things that I always love asking health coaches, as you've been working with clients and as you've been helping them get rid of back pain and helping them be healthier and helping them move more and get more energy and come into their own, there's always, as you're working with that, there's always spin-off benefits, because as one part of their life starts to get better, there's a ripple effect that continues on after that, which is unintended, wonderful side effects and spin-off benefits. What have you noticed? Any spin-off benefits that you've noticed in clients that you've been working with?
I noticed that clients, they are able to lose weight, even though they don't come to me for losing weight. They have greater energy. They are affecting their blood sugar levels. I had a client come to me and her A1C has been high since many years, maybe 10 years ago, and it's continually increasing and it hasn't gone down. But after working with me, her A1C has started to decrease for the first time. And that's awesome. She was able to get off one of her medications also, which was, she wasn't even, thinking or looking to that she would do that. She's eating healthier and cooking for her family healthier, eating out less. She has less stress and mental clarity, and she is really setting clear boundaries, which is really, really key. Because when you don't have really clear boundaries, that contributes to your stress levels also. And many of us as women, many times, we don't know how to say no. And we don't have those clear boundaries, or we let people just cross over those boundaries or keep moving them further and further away. So those are some of the great benefits of losing weight and understanding that, hey, I can make changes in my life that affect not only the client, but their whole family.
Yeah, I love that. And really just, this woman, did she even have back pain? This woman that with the hemoglobin A1C and getting that lowered?
She really didn't have back pain, but she came to me because she felt that I could help her. And she had that challenge. She's a diabetic, and she just felt like I could help her. And I knew I could help her also. And so, yeah, we worked together, and she had some phenomenal results.
Yeah, and when you get right to the root and the core of it, however it's spinning off, so people don't even need to have back pain in order to get relief. There was another woman I remember that came to you. I think you had given a talk for a women's group, and it was about it was for women in pain and who had trouble setting boundaries, not knowing how to say no. Share a little bit about what happened with that woman that you helped, which just kind of explains kind of some of these ripple effects that you've seen.
Yeah, that was really amazing. She came to me after I had I was speaking with a women's group, and I was talking about women in pain and boundaries and not knowing how to say no. So the spin-off benefit for her was that she had a better relationship with her husband. She made a decision to take care of herself first. And she loved her husband, but, the spark, had gone a little bit, and she was struggling. And there was always, some other layers beneath all of that. And many people have other layers simmering below that they're just not really aware of. So what she decided to do, she took a trip away on her own. She came back, and her marriage was better than ever. And people have even begun to notice that the relationship is much, much better. They commented on it all the time. She came back, she was refreshed, renewed, and now she has made some really dramatic changes in her life. She cut her hair. She lost weight, and she's a new woman. So the benefits are so much more life-changing than even just back pain relief.
That is so incredible. So it does. Once one thing gets better, and you talked at the very beginning about how back pain was controlling and consuming your entire life, your work, your relationships, everything, and it affects your ability to interact, ability to do fun activities like hiking or dancing, and your ability to work, and relationships with family and friends and spouses. And so it's understandable that when you get to the root and you unravel and you peel back some of those layers and have people get more clear on what they want, knowing how to eat, what to do, how to move, installing some of these simple habits that have a profound and dramatic impact on their health, that everything starts to go in their favor and swing in their favor. I think you still occasionally bump into her, I believe, right?
I do. And she is just beaming, and she's so happy and so grateful, and tells me how much she loves me. And that is so satisfying to know that you're helping people change their lives, because really they're the ones doing the work. I'm just here helping them.
Yeah, the guide. Yes, so good. It is, that is the rewarding. That's what makes this career of health coaching so satisfying, as I call it. And when you're working in your zone of genius, which you clearly are, Avis, everybody wins. Your clients win, you win. It's just satisfying and great all the way around. Their family wins, their relationships, their work, everything just gets better. Thank you so much for being here. How can people connect with you if they're suffering with back pain or maybe some of these other things and they're like, I need to connect with that woman. She's resonating with me. Some of the things that she's sharing, she's got some insight that I would like to have. How can I ask her questions? How can they connect with you, Avis?
Oh, I'd love to connect with anyone who wants to just reach out to me. You can reach me at my website at thespiritofhealth.com. Also on that website, I have a turn back pain around starter kit that will get you started on your way. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you.
Awesome. So that is thespiritofhealth.com. And you can check Avis out there, Avis Doctor. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on our episode. Thank you so much for the work that you do. And I just super appreciate all of you and the grace and the wisdom that you bring and how you can help people tap into their innate healing abilities. I know that's really core to what you do. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shauna.
Well, thank you as well for tuning into this episode of Health Coach TV. If you like this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have questions that you have for Avis or myself, feel free to pop those in the comments. If there is a topic that you would like us to uncover, dive deep into, pop that in the comments as well. I'm always looking for great experts, great health coaches to interview on Health Coach TV. And with that, that's it for this week. Be good for you.